On the 11th of February 2012, 25-years-old Careen Chepchumba was found dead in her apartment in Nairobi, Kenya. There was an open bottle of wine with 2 glasses left on the sink, which indicated that she must have had a guest moments before she died. But no one saw anything. The security man said he did not see anyone go into her apartment, neither did he see anyone come out of it. The neighbors also claimed they didn't see anyone or notice any suspicious movements. But upon further look at the crime scene, the police could easily tell that this young lady had been strangled to death by someone in her home. But up till this day, no one has been arrested or charged with the death of 25-years-old Careen Chepchumba, despite the fact that the police have a suspect, or should I say suspects. But how come no one has been arrested? And how come even the fact that they have a very obvious suspect with a very plain and clear motive, he still hasn't been arrested? In this video, we're going to look at the suspects mentioned in the death of Careen Chepchumba, and we're going to see how and why they have been named as suspects. The first suspect in this case is Emmanuel Kipto, Careen Chepchumba's brother. He was the one said to have found her dead in her apartment, and I think that is why many people think that he could have done it, even though I personally don't think he might have done it. Now, the reason why many people believe that he could have had a hand in her death is because the previous day on the 11th, he had dropped Careen off after returning from a family meeting. It was said that on the 11th, Careen had attended a family meeting at their family house, and after the family meeting, Emmanuel, the brother, dropped her off at her apartment, but he did not enter into the apartment. He just dropped her off at the gate. Now, according to the security man, when he saw Careen, she looked happy. She looked like she was in a good mood. However, the next day, it was said that Emmanuel tried calling her number. Emmanuel tried reaching out to Careen. The family was trying to get to Careen to ask how she was doing, to ask what's up, to ask what's with her, what's happening, and how she was feeling after the meeting the previous day. But every time they kept calling her number, she wasn't taking her calls. The line wasn't even going through. And because of that, Careen's mother was worried and requested that Emmanuel takes her to Careen's apartment, in which Emmanuel did take the mother to Careen's apartment. And when they got to Careen's apartment, it was said that Emmanuel told the mother to wait in the car while he went up to check at Careen's apartment to see if she was at home or if she had actually gone to work. Now, put in mind that Careen's apartment is in a gated community, is in a tush estate, a very upscale estate, a very wealthy people's estate, where to even go to our apartment, you would have to pass a security system where you would have to register your name, and the security man would have to place a call to Careen to see if she's expecting you. And that is kind of like the system of the neighborhood Careen lived in. So when Emmanuel told the mother to wait, he went through the security system and then went up to Careen's apartment. As he knocked at the door, no one answered, and he realized the door wasn't even locked. So he pushed it open and saw Careen's sandals by the doorway, which made him believe that Careen had not gone to work and she was still at home. According to him, he saw the bottle of wine and 2 glasses and did not think too much of it. He also realized that the apartment windows were closed, which kind of made the apartment stuffy and hot. But when he went to Careen's room, he saw Careen on the bed sleeping with her laptop close to her, and then he went back downstairs and brought the mom up to see Careen. As the mom went to Careen's room to see her, Emmanuel was opening the windows for ventilation to take place in this stuffy apartment. However, as he was opening up the window and trying to clear the sink, that was when he heard the mom scream, only to rush down to Careen's room, and the mom told Emmanuel that Careen was not responsive, that she's dead. And that was how Careen was discovered, by Emmanuel and the mom. Now, people are saying that Emmanuel might be a suspect because at the time that he went up to the apartment, he would have noticed that something was wrong. He would have realized that something was off. The fact that she was in her bed at that time of the day, the fact that she wasn't taking her calls all this while, the fact that the door wasn't even locked, and the fact that everywhere was stuffy, people are saying that Emmanuel would have known that something was off. He would have realized that this girl was dead. For the fact that he went up and saw the situation the way it was and still brought the mom up, people are beginning to suspect him that what if he had killed her and just wanted to set the scene for someone else, the mother, to discover the body so it won't be him. So it kind of gave a suspicious vibe to a lot of people who felt that Emmanuel should have known that something was off before even bringing the mother upstairs to discover the body. But personally, I like to think Emmanuel wasn't exactly the smartest person in the world. I think there are a lot of people like that who would not have seen that something was off. I don't think anybody's mind goes there And I would understand why it may have skipped him by, why he may have not have thought that this woman was dead in her bed. I guess there are some people like that who just aren't as bright as the rest of us. And so that is my thought on Emmanuel being a suspect. There will probably be another reason, but we will get to that in a moment. So the second suspect here, which is the key suspect, is a popular Kenya celebrity known as Mr. Louis Otieno. Now, Louis Otieno was known to be a Kenyan news network anchor, and at the time, he was really very popular during the 2010s, and he was like a hot thing. He was the creme de la creme. He had a booming career, he was young, and he was said to be one of the highest paid TV anchor at the time. So he was known, he was a celebrity. Another thing that was also relevant about Otieno was that as at 2011, news about his financial woes, news about his financial meltdown, news about the fact that this wealthy man's financial situation is coming to a crash was making headlines. People knew that as wealthy as he was and as young as he was, he had a very lavish lifestyle. He was buying expensive cars, traveling first class, going private jets. He was fond of spending money on exotic women, buying expensive alcohol. He even had a special expensive cigarette that he smokes that had to be imported. So basically, this man had a lavish lifestyle, and when the news of his financial woes made headlines, people weren't surprised. Now, it's unclear how Louis Otieno and Careen Chepchumba met. People really can't place the timeline because Careen worked at the power supply company for Kenya, so that's where she worked, while Otieno worked at the Kenyan news network. It was said that when Otieno's financial situation became bad, he turned to Careen Chepchumba for help. It was Careen that he went to meet to help him, get back to his feet. So that is how their relationship was said to be. And I guess Otieno had met Careen at the time of his downfall and had gone to meet Careen for financial help. And it was said Careen financially helped this man. And it is this financial help that Careen gave to Otieno that is putting Otieno in this situation of him being the key suspect. Now, it was said that when Otieno went to meet Careen for help, Careen began sponsoring this man's life literally. Like, Careen began financing his lavish lifestyle. Despite the fact that this man is running broke, this woman who is helping him was still able to maintain his lavish lifestyle. Like, that didn't stop. His expensive cigarettes, Careen was still buying it for him. Otieno's children's school fees, Careen was paying it. Otieno's house rent, Careen was paying that. Even maintaining Otieno's expensive lavish cars, Careen was literally carrying this man on her shoulders. But how was she getting the money? Careen exactly wasn't being paid millions a month. Even though she lived in an upscale apartment, how was she able to maintain her own lifestyle and that of this man's extravagant lifestyle? How? Throughout the entire investigation, Careen's father, Mr. Ozayakili, revealed to the police that Careen had gone to borrow a lot of money. Careen was borrowing money from friends, family, co-workers. She even takes loan from her workplace, all to finance the lifestyle of Louis Otieno. This was totally ridiculous. It became even bad to the point that Careen stole from her father, Mr. Ozayakili, and that was kind of like the reason for the family meeting a day before she was found dead. When Mr. Ozayakili, Careen's father, learned that 4 million shillings has been stolen from him by Careen, he told the family that Careen stole 4 million from me, that what is going on with Careen. And that was when he learned from other family members that Careen had been borrowing money and promising to pay back. And that kind of bothered him, and because of that, they had to hold a family meeting for Careen to ask her why she's doing this. At this point still, they all knew that Careen had something with Otieno. Otieno was famous, so if Careen is hanging out with someone that famous, members of the family would know. So when the family gathered around, they realized that Careen has been giving this man the money, and they are like, what is happening? It's unclear the details of the meeting, but in the meeting, Careen was confronted and she eventually opened up to the family that Otieno was the one making her get this money, that Otieno kept pressuring her to get this money, that at the point he was even trying to blackmail her to get this money, that he was the one putting pressure on her and that he had promised to pay back. And the family opened their eyes to let her know that this man is using your head. This man is only using you. This man doesn't have any plans of paying you back. He's just using you to get what he wants. And that was when Careen's eyes kind of opened. She realized that whatever she had with Otenno, she was being used. And in the meeting, it was said that Careen promised that when she goes home, she's going to end everything with Otenno and she's going to file a lawsuit, an extortion lawsuit against Otenno, and that would probably help get the money she had borrowed from relations back. And that was the agreement that she made with her family before she went home the day before she died. But one of the big questions is, why was Careen giving this man all this money? Were they dating or were they just friends? When Mr. Otenno was questioned, when Mr. Otenno was interrogated by the police, he said he and Careen were just friends, that Careen was just a friend helping him financially. He did not deny that part. However, Careen's family disputed that fact. Even the security man at Careen's place said that Mr. Otenno was in a romantic relationship with Careen. Even neighbors of Careen confirmed that Mr. Otenno was in a romantic relationship with Careen. Even one of Careen's best friends and close friend confirmed that Careen was in a sexual romantic relationship with Otenno and that they were more than just friends. Otenno tried to pass it off like Careen and he were just close friends and they weren't anything more, because obviously when a woman dies like that, they would have to turn to the lover. And I guess he was trying to avoid the name of being a lover to Careen. That was why he kept passing it off as they were just friends. But, he couldn't just pass that off easily, because when the security man who was there the day, she was found was questioned, he made it clear that Otenno was someone who constantly visited Careen a lot. And like I've said before, to get to Careen's apartment to see Careen, you would have to go through the security system of filing your name, showing your ID card, having to call Careen. But according to the security man, Otenno kept visiting Careen too often. Way too often, to the point that Careen had to ask the security agency to give Otenno unrestricted access to her. Only Otenno had unrestricted access to Careen. Careen's mother does not have that. Careen's brother did not have that. None of Careen's family had that unrestricted access to Careen. Only Otenno had unrestricted access to her. So when Otenno kept visiting Careen as often as he did, Careen told the security agency to give Otenno unrestricted access to her, and since then, whenever Otenno came to see Careen, he would just walk up to her. Maybe the people at the gate would take down his name for him, but he would not have to go through all those process or protocols. So the security man made it clear that only Otenno had unrestricted access to her, which kind of indicated that he was more than just a friend. Another thing the security man said was Otenno was the only one who stayed past midnight, and if anyone was coming to see Careen, they'd left soon enough. That Otenno was the only one who had stayed and could stay past midnight with Careen. He had even stayed to 3 o'clock. At this point, Otenno had his own family and wife and children, so it was not like something that this man was single. So that was kind of like the situation. So clearly Careen was messing with a married man, but that was besides the case. So Otenno was said to be the only one who had unrestricted access and the only one who could see her at night. And the police are saying that whoever killed her must have done it at night still. So a lot of people are saying that Otenno could have been the one who had killed Careen, because maybe the day Careen promised her family that she was going to end things with Otenno, she probably called him and he probably came and, they had a discussion and maybe he agreed to it, and somewhere in the night when they were sleeping, he killed her quietly, because when they looked at the crime scene, they were able to deduct that whoever killed her was close to her. There was no fight, nothing was scattered, she wasn't beaten or thrown on the ground. She was very comfortable with whoever killed her, to the point that she had drinks with the person. There was a bottle of wine with 2 glasses. So which means whoever came was someone she was expecting, was someone she knew, was someone she was happy to have, was someone she was comfortable with, to the point that they would have drinks together. And since she was killed on her bed in a sleeping position, it is possible that she even went to bed with this person. And somewhere along the line, the person woke up and ended her life. So the police were able to deduct that with the situation of her apartment, whoever did it was someone very close to her, someone who had easy access to her, and somehow someone who could easily come into the apartment without the security seeing the person. But Otenno's claim was that he wasn't there. He kind of created an alibi for himself and claimed that he had not even visited Careen the whole week leading to her death. And to back that up, the security agency that provides the security men for Careen's apartment confirmed that, Mr. Otenno had not visited Careen all through that week. Even up to the day, there was no record of him. And the security man on that day, who was on duty the night she must have been killed, said that he didn't see anyone come in or go out. Like the previous day he had seen Miss Careen go up on the apartment looking good, but he did not see anyone enter, he did not see anyone leave, and he did not leave his security post. So that is kind of like the lapses of this. That is kind of like the only saving grace that is keeping Mr. Otieno from being arrested, because they could not place him at the crime scene, and I think he created an alibi for himself that he was probably somewhere else. So if he didn't do it, then who did? One of Careen's best friend confirmed that when Careen was alive, Careen used to tell him that Otieno used to sneak into our apartment without even the security man noticing. That it was one of those things that they had talked about and joked about, that Careen thought was romantic and cute. But at this point now that this girl has been killed, the friend decided to bring it up to prove that Otieno had a way of going into Careen's apartment without anyone knowing, and that had to count for something. So a lot of people are saying Otieno had every reason to want to kill Careen, because first of all, Careen was about to end things with him, and Careen was about to charge him to court for extortion, which could be very damaging to his already damaged situation. A lot of people are saying that that must have scared him off and caused him and pushed him to kill the young lady. He must have seduced her, he must have acted to have come with a good intention, he must have had drinks with her and had said to sleep on her bed, hopefully the next day that they will part ways peacefully, but ended up killing her. When Otieno was interviewed, when Otieno was questioned, he clearly denied all of this. He said he wasn't around, he said Careen was just his friend, and somewhere in his interrogation he revealed a very, very shocking information that kind of leads us to our third suspect, Mr. Uzziah Kili, Careen's father. But before we go on, please take a moment to like this video, and if you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so whenever there is a new video, you will be the first to know. So when Mr. Otieno was being interrogated, he suddenly gave a very shocking information that I don't even know how this information helps his case, but it kind of points finger at Careen's father. He basically told the police to check Careen's father, Mr. Uzziah Kili, that he also could have killed Careen. And the police were like, okay, why do you say so? Why do you think Mr. Uzziah Kili could have killed Careen? And that was when he revealed that Careen told him that when she was younger, her father, Uzziah Kili, used to sexually abuse her. He went on to say that Careen told him that the man used to make him do things only a wife should do to their husband. And whenever Careen's mother was not around, the man would sneak into her bedroom and make her make love to him. He even went further to claim that there was a time he was at Careen's apartment when the father stormed in and wanted to raise hell to beat Careen or something, and he had to step in to protect Careen and be the hero and something like that. He kind of gave the impression that Mr. Uzziah Kili had some sort of feelings for Careen and was not happy with her relationship with the man, and I guess he was suggesting the man killed Careen out of jealousy that Careen was with him. That was Mr. Louis Otieno's argument, so that was what he was trying to claim. And when he made this accusation, it kind of changed the story and turned the story into a different direction. Personally, I think this man was just trying to cause a deviation. He was just trying to point fingers somewhere else. He was just trying to change the story. Because even though Mr. Uzziah did abuse Careen, how is that a motive to kill her? So clearly, Mr. Uzziah Kili was confronted with this allegation, and of course, he denied it, and he went on to prove to the police that he and Careen were in good terms till the very end. He even showed a letter that Careen had written some weeks back apologizing for going into a relationship with Otieno. The police saw the letter and confirmed the letter. Even when they went to Careen's apartment to do their investigation, they saw a letter Careen was trying to write. This is a day after the family meeting, and in that letter, Careen was trying to apologize to the father over stealing his money and giving it to Otieno and promising to fix everything. But it was as if Careen squeezed the letter and threw it in the dustbin because maybe something wasn't right with the letter. So those letters kind of prove that even though Mr. Uzziah had abused Careen at a younger age or at a certain time, at the point of her death, they were in good terms. And that was it. He proved that he had no reason to kill her, and he had no cause to want her dead, not after she had taken that much money from him, because he clearly wanted the money back. and he can't get the money back if he kills her. It was also revealed that Mr. Uzziah wasn't Careen's real father, that he was just a stepfather, and I guess that was why he was able to do what he did to her, I'm guessing. So that was how Mr. Uzziah Kili was, implicated in this case. That is why many people see him as a suspect, and that is basically the only reason that he's being seen as a suspect. The other suspect here is Careen's driver, Careen's personal driver. It was said that the man had called Careen the day she died, probably a day before, demanding his salary that Careen hadn't paid, and he kept yelling on the phone and shouting at Careen. I think they got this voice message through the network provider, and so they are suspecting maybe he was the one who killed her. But again, I don't know why anyone would want to kill someone who is owing them money. I personally wouldn't want anyone who is owing me money to die until they have paid at least. This driver is also the one who goes to pick up things that Careen would buy for Otenno, all the cigarettes, alcohol, money, and everything. So that was kind of like what they were suggesting, that maybe he may have also been in love with her and thereby suspecting him to be a killer. However, this is all the suspects here, and obviously there is only one person here who has more reason to kill Careen as compared to the others. Again, another thing that affected this case was the fact that the police messed it all up. Fingerprints, fingernails, things that were collected from the crime scene that were supposed to be tested in a lab to find DNAs of who might have killed this woman was all contaminated. The police was said to have bungled the case. And every time they bring back the case up, it still falls back to the evidence, the DNA evidence. The fingerprints on the drinks, the fingerprints on the glass cup, DNA samples from Careen's fingernails. She scratched the victims. All those things that were collected turned out to be contaminated by the police. And because of that, they cannot identify or prove that Mr. Otenno was in that apartment the day Careen died. So clearly they have no case against him. After all, he has provided his alibi. Security agency for Careen has confirmed that he had not been seen in Careen's apartment for a whole week leading to her death. So that is where the case of Careen Chepchumba is now, and that is why it's stalled. That is why it's stuck. That's why there is no way forward for this case. There's no way forward for this case because not enough evidence can prove that anyone was dead that day, apart from the fact that they know that someone was dead that day. They know that whoever killed Careen had easy access to her. Whoever killed Careen was close to her. Whoever killed Careen was someone dear to Careen, someone Careen trusted enough to even have drinks with the person and probably sleep in the same bed with the person to the point the person killed her. Obviously, Mr. Louis Otenno had more reasons to kill Careen, but at this point, the police cannot prove that he did it. So therefore, no one has been charged and arrested in relation to the death of Careen Chepchumba. So this is all there is to this case. I would like to hear your thoughts. Hopefully the Kenya government or the Kenya police department would revisit this case and see if there is a way they could get witnesses. I'm sure someone must have seen something that day. I'm sure someone knows something that day. I feel like someone who knows something about this case is just somewhere out there, probably afraid to say anything. But I believe all they just need is one witness, someone who had seen or heard something the day this woman was killed. Someone got to know something, someone got to have seen something, and hopefully they speak up. But let me know your thoughts, guys, on this case. Do you think Louis Otenno is guilty? And regarding Careen's father, Mr. Uzziah Kili, do you think he too could have also done it? I personally don't think he could have, but I would like to hear your thoughts because at this point anyone could be a suspect. So I'm not just going to exempt him totally because who knows if there is something underneath, who knows if something happened. But although the man had proven that up to Careen's death, the two of them were in good terms and basically they didn't even see him in the apartment. I would like to hear your thoughts on this case. I would like to hear what you think. Another thing I would also want to get your thoughts on, do you think this case could eventually be solved one day? Or do you think this is a dead end for the case? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button. After you've liked this video, share with your friends and have given your comments. And don't forget to also turn on your notification button so whenever there is a new video, you will be the first to get it. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.